What'd you do here? What happened? You got into Scooby Snacks?
Oh my goodness, Denver, you did.
Denver, did you do this? And I find the trash can destroyed. So, I just got a couple questions for you, Denver. What happened?
Never an NBA champion. I loved Tracy when he was younger. Blake just shot.
You guys are probably wondering what those two videos have in common, and what they have in common was that they kept making mistakes. Like Blake Griffin, he airballed 2 free throws, and Denver the dog kept going through the trash and eating food when he wasn't supposed to.
A fictional source that shows a mistake that occurs more than once would be from the movie The Dark Knight. Batman has multiple opportunities to kill the Joker, but he never does. He later regrets this action because the Joker breaks free from prison and kills multiple victims. Batman continually throws Joker into more and more secure prisons, but even he can't foresee how crafty the Joker is, and he learns a new characteristic of the Joker each time he faces off with him. Here are some answers to my survey. Some noticeable data include that more females think that all mistakes are fixable and all mistakes teach a type of lesson. Another piece of data includes that more males list alcohol as a big cause of mistakes. The survey was targeted for teenagers, and the mean age of the survey takers was around 17 years old.
In your opinion, what is a mistake?
For me, it's a mistake is something that you did that you maybe have regrets or had an unintentional outcome that you didn't want to happen.
Yeah, for me, a mistake is similar. It's something that you did that didn't turn out how you wanted, but it's also, I feel like, the biggest opportunity you have to grow.
I believe a mistake is an action you make through thought that ends in a negative outcome and affects you as well as people around you.
A mistake is when you do something wrong that you regret or that hurts other people.
If you don't mind, can you please state an example of where you have made a mistake in the past?
I walked into the office at work and I looked over at my friend who's a cashier and I said, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, and then I went to sit down on a rolling chair, but I didn't know the rolling chair was very wobbly, and I fell and hit my head on the ground. I thought it looked really cool as I slid out of view, but instead I looked really dumb, and that's not what I had in mind. So I'd say that was a mistake.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in my life was I was arrested and served jail time for possession with intent to sell when I was 19 years old.
I feel like a mistake is when, or example of a mistake would be when you weren't like able to tell like the truth to someone that like you really like probably should have, like a really good friend or family member, and when you felt like ashamed of maybe what you did, so you lied about it. I feel like that would have been a mistake.
Was there a time that you did that? You lied to a family member?
I've lied to
maybe a husband?
No.
So you say you can learn from mistake. Do all mistakes teach you a type of lesson in any shape or form?
I would say yes.
I would say most times, but I think you really have to be open to that and kind of humble yourself and really be able to see like your part in the mistake to be able to learn from it. And I think sometimes that's hard. And so there are oftentimes mistakes. Either you blame someone else or maybe you just don't want to have to change your own behavior. So you might not be learning from them.
That makes sense. But I think also like if someone else makes a mistake, you can learn from that too. Like even if I blame them, I'm like, well, I'll never do that.
I think all mistakes eventually do teach you a lesson. If you don't realize it then at that moment, you will realize it eventually later on in life.
And I think it depends. Depends if you are open to wanting to learn. If you're just going to be closed-minded and not wanting to learn, then you're never going to learn anything.
Yes, it would mean that
I do agree. It does teach you a lesson. Because if we don't learn from our mistakes, then I believe people would just stay in one spot in the world. Would be a terrible place.
So you say that you can learn from a mistake, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you made a mistake twice or more times in a row?
Yes.
You have said you learn from your mistakes. Why do you make the same mistake if you have learned from it?
Because I'm sometimes a slow learner, or sometimes I only learned one lesson when I needed to learn 20 lessons. So I have to make the mistake 19 more times and then I'll get it down.
Yeah, I think sometimes just like out of habit, we just like tend to do the same thing over and over, and it takes a while to break a habit and really have to be disciplined and be focused on it. And if you're not like being conscious of changing your actions, then you won't.
You do learn from it, but sometimes you didn't learn like it doesn't stick to your head, so that's why you repeat your past but life is just about learning, and you just have to just be positive and just learn from your mistakes.
In my personal opinion, I believe that people are going to be selfish in some ways, and a lot, as like me, I'm really stubborn and I want to do what I want to do a lot of the times, and it's hard to listen to other people and get advice sometimes.
Dr. Sarb Johal suggests that we are used to a certain pattern, and he says, quote, "Perhaps we are so used to do things in a certain way, so familiar with certain events, objects, and experiences in our lives that we have developed a pattern over a number of years. Straying from these patterns, no matter whether it is positive or negative, is actually deeply uncomfortable for us because they are so ingrained." End quote.
You just watched my video on my central question of why do we make mistakes twice? You saw the interviews, you saw the survey, and now I'll answer the same questions I asked during the interviews to show you what I learned throughout this whole process. The first question is, what is a mistake? And there is no real right answer to this, but the answer most generally given was, a mistake is an action that causes an unaccounted for effect. The next question is, do we always learn from our mistakes? Again, this is up to opinion, but generally saying that all mistakes can't be solved, but they can teach a lesson, and that the lesson might not be evident right away, but in the end, there's always a lesson to be learned. The final question is my essential question, and it's, why do we make mistakes twice? We make mistakes twice because each mistake can teach multiple lessons, and we might not learn all the values that each mistake gives us, which makes us more susceptible to making the same mistakes twice. Thank you for watching. Peace.